Lots of worrying news that we are seeing on the economic front right now. Really concerning figures. Inflation rate is at a 5-month high. It has risen to the highest level since April this year. The inflation rate for September is at 7.4%, and the rate has risen for the second straight month. As you can see in that graph, inflation has been above the Reserve Bank's target, the 6% target for the whole year. A specifically concerning point is that rural India is being hit by higher prices more than urban India. Rural inflation is above urban inflation for the 4th straight month. Rural inflation is at 7.56% versus urban inflation that's at 7.27%. Now, what are the categories that are hurting the most? Highest inflation is in the fuel and light category at 10.4%. But what impacts the inflation rate the most is the food and beverage category with a weightage of 46%. And food inflation has risen from 7.6% in August to 8.6% in September. In fact, the rising food prices were even flagged by the Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman recently in Washington, D.C. Let's listen in.
Energy, not just the price, but also the availability. The risks to sourcing of energy. All these are challenges which are not in the medium term, not in the long term, but also in the short term. So these are energy, fertilizer, are all becoming expensive. As a result, in some parts of the country, not so much for us, there is severe food insecurity.
Now, this food insecurity flag comes after inflation has been rising despite the Reserve Bank's efforts of hiking interest rates for 4 consecutive times. And inflation is still forecast to stay above RBI's 6% tolerance band for the whole year, as per the Reserve Bank itself. And it doesn't just mean rising prices, but it hurts growth too. An RBI working paper says that inflation above the threshold retards GDP growth rate and it makes growth more costly. And in fact, there's more worrying news for the economy that's coming in. Industrial production index has also contracted by 0.8% in the month of August. Inflation is not the only worry for us. This also adds, and a lot else has changed in the last 1 month. Rupee fell from 79 per dollar to 89 per dollar in just a matter of a month. Exports contracted by 3.5% in September year on year. The IMF said that 2023 will feel like a recession for many. Multiple agencies have cut India's GDP forecast for the current year. The World Bank cut it to 7.5% to 6.5% from 7.5%. IMF cut it to 6.8% from 7.4%. The Reserve Bank itself cut the forecast from 7.2% to 7%. Though the World Bank and the IMF's forecasts are still below 7%, the Finance Minister is confident that India's growth rate will be around 7% this financial year. But of course, inflation hurts that goal. One good news is that oil prices have fallen 28% from their March highs and are now down to close to $93 per barrel. This is leading to a growing call for the central government to cut fuel rates, because the rates rose with the crude oil prices but didn't come down alongside. Experts say that this cut is needed to bring some relief to the people.